So if you've been on NBA Twitter for the past couple hours, I'm sure you've seen this clip.
Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of. Let me say it again. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of again. Thank you, man.
Now, I saw this at like 3 in the morning and I went right back to sleep and I was like, yeah, fuck this. There's no way this is real. However, when I woke up, it was 100% real and I've taken a couple hours to process everything and this is what I have to say. There's a lot of people coming after Harden saying that he's pulling this quitter move again. He's gonna put on the fat suit, which maybe part of that is true. And when you have a track record like James Harden, it is gonna be very hard for people to come to your defense. However, there's a lot of context that's being missed. Look, I'm not gonna act like I'm the biggest fan of James Harden. He's done some dumb shit. He has quit on his team before, and honestly, I think his track record could speak for himself. But in this case, I'm not gonna lie, I think Harden is actually innocent, and I'm gonna explain why. So first of all, let's establish, how the hell is Daryl Morey a liar? I mean, Harden literally said it twice. Well, there's nothing confirming it, but there is a lead suspicion on why he kept calling Morey a liar. Well, it circles back to 2022, when James Harden was about to be a free agent, and for some reason, he took a pay cut. He got about $15 million, which is way less than he deserved, despite him being an aging star. Now, when people saw this, obviously they were shocked. I mean, James Harden taking a $15 million pay cut, when have we ever seen that before? But it made Harden look like a good guy. He was taking less money so the team could focus on other free agents, and they did spend the money pretty well. Now, I have a very big suspicion on why I think Harden actually took that pay cut. Maybe it was for the better of the team at the time, but honestly, I don't think that's the case. From what we're seeing, it seemed like Daryl Morey made a promise to James Harden to give him a big deal in the following offseason, which, not to be the police or anything, but I gotta be honest, this is against the rules, but so is tampering, and we all know that shit happens on a day-to-day basis. But regardless of that, if this is true, if Daryl Morey said, hey, take this pay cut right now, the following year we're gonna give you a big ass extension, if that was the case and he did not deliver, then yes, that is fucked up 100%. And now looking back at it, I don't see a reason why Harden would take 15 million, like especially for a pay cut. That is so crazy to me. Now you might be asking, okay, but why would James Harden trust Daryl Morey? Well, they have a long history. Daryl Morey was the GM in Houston, and we all know James Harden played for Houston for years. Now, when I saw this happen, my first thought was, has Daryl Morey ever done something like this before? And it turns out he has. Now, it's not the exact same situation, but it involved Chris Paul when he was playing for Houston. Now, do you guys remember when Chris Paul was traded to the Thunder and a lot of people were surprised? Well, Chris Paul was one of those people, because in an interview, he said that Daryl Morey told him that he was not going to be traded. And he specifically said he was not going to be traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, luckily for Chris Paul, there was a happy ending because he played on the Thunder, he played pretty well, went to Phoenix, and now you all know that story. But coming back to the present day, it turns out Daryl Morey actually responded to James Harden in an interview, and this is what he said. According to Jay Dumas reports, Daryl Morey is unmoved by James Harden's comments and still plans to keep him. Look, there are very few things I'm not willing to do, and one of those things are being in a pissing contest with James Harden. And what I mean by that is both of these motherfuckers have big ass egos, and we all know that Harden is not going to show up if it comes down to it. Now, Daryl Morey, he does have the option whether to trade him or not, but we all know that he's probably not going to trade him if he doesn't want to. Now, the issue is that this happened to James Harden and not any other player. And the reason I bring that up is because let's say if Trae Young did this, right? If Trae Young did this, I think most people would side with Trae Young. However, James Harden has repeatedly left the team that he was playing for, and it usually ends in a pretty bad way. So seeing James Harden request yet another trade and bash his GM publicly, yeah, in the public eye, it doesn't look good. But I think we all need to remember, if this deal was actually made and it comes out that this was true, which I don't know if it will, because like I said, it is against the rules in the NBA, so a fine would definitely happen. But if this was true, then I do think James Harden has a right to be upset, because whether we thought he took the pay cut because he wanted to be a good teammate or because he was going to get a bag, at the end of the day, if Daryl Morey promised a bag and he did not deliver, then Harden has every right to be upset. Now, let's hypothetically say that James Harden is completely lying and none of this is true. Well, then Harden's reputation would be over and everybody would look at him in a very bad way. But something is telling me this is not the case, because we've seen multiple examples of GMs fucking over their players in the past. I think most people are going to chalk this up to just player empowerment going too far, but honestly, I don't think that's the case. I think Daryl Morey did a very slimy fucking thing, and now Harden's gonna have to deal with backlash despite it not really being his fault. Now look, do I think he could have handled this in a better way? I mean, I'm like 95% sure he was at some kids basketball camp, If you look in the video, it seems like there's kids in the background. I could be wrong though, that's just what I'm hearing people say. But I feel like he could have done this at a better place and better time. But look, if someone asked him about it, or if he genuinely just wanted to say it where the cameras were on, then that's his decision. Look, Daryl Morey is going to have a lot of explaining to do if this is the case. Now, in my personal opinion, this is how I think everything is going to go. I do think that Daryl Morey is going to get backed into a corner and he's eventually going to have to trade James Harden. Now, the preferred destination from what I'm hearing is the Clippers, and I'm assuming he's just going to get back some role players and assets. But we're talking about Daryl Morey here. This isn't any other GM. This is the same guy that basically held Ben Simmons hostage until he found the perfect deal, which was James Harden. I do think there's a possibility that Harden gets traded to somewhere completely different. I pray to God it's not Phoenix. I like Harden, but I just don't want him on my basketball team. That's how I feel. I think there's a possibility that Harden does not get traded till maybe mid-season, and maybe he does sit out to start the season, which yes, there'll be fines, but I think Harden can pay them off. I think I saw a report a couple days ago where the Sixers did say they had no intentions to trade James Harden anymore. I think they were looking for deals, but they couldn't find one that Daryl Morey actually liked. So shit, maybe that's the reason why Harden decided now he had to come out and talk about it. And like I said, if it comes down to Daryl Morey having to wait to trade James Harden, or James Harden just sitting out and putting on the fat suit once again, then it might have to be that. I don't know how this is going to end. It's probably going to end very bad, and it seems like James Harden is putting a lot on the line, especially if his claims are not true, which I believe they are. Now, right now, there is one best case scenario for both teams. It's not a good one at that. It's a very terrible best case scenario, but it's where Harden pulls out the fat suit. He shows up for training camp, and maybe he even comes in the season and he starts playing. Look, despite James Harden getting older as time goes on, he is still a pretty great player in the NBA. I'd argue he's still an all-star level player. But I think we can all decipher the difference between James Harden just not trying and not giving a shit, and Harden trying. And if game one happens and James Harden is playing for the Sixers, then expect him to suck. So I don't know, if you play fantasy basketball, do not draft that motherfucker. I don't play fantasy basketball, so I don't know how that goes. Regardless, I think this is going to be a very interesting story that I'm probably going to cover. I don't know how much. I'm not a news channel, so I'll probably talk about it here or there if we get a big update. Now, I am curious about this. Who do you think won that James Harden trade back in 2022, or was it 2021? I don't fucking remember anymore. Either the Nets getting Ben Simmons or the Sixers getting Harden. Honestly, I don't think there's really a winning side in this case. Now, full disclosure, if you were here for just the Harden part of the video and you don't give a shit about what's been going on the past week or two, then you can click off the video. No disrespect, you can check out another video if you want, or I will see you later. I appreciate you for checking out the video. But if you continue to watch the video, first of all, I appreciate you, and I got a little bit of explaining to do. Over the past couple weeks, you've seen my channel's been very inconsistent and I haven't uploaded that much. Some of that is due to the fact that, you know, NBA YouTube is kind of slow right now, well, except for James Harden pulling this shit, but usually it's been pretty slow lately. We're in a dead point in the season right now, and yes, there is still content I want to make, but the problem is I also went through something called burnout. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, I got burnt out and I was barely able to record a fucking video without feeling like death. On top of that, I'm not going to say what happened, but something happened where I fucking mentally broke for like 2 to 3 days. However, I felt it was disingenuous if I kept leaving, so I decided to come back, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel stronger than ever. I was gonna upload a video anyways, but then this James Harden shit happened, so I feel like I had to talk about it. So you're getting back-to-back videos, you know, 2 straight days. It's been a long fucking last month, I guess you could say, but I'm fucking back and I am super excited. I feel like I fell in love with YouTube once again. But yeah, if you made it this far into the video, I genuinely fucking appreciate you. I'm pretty sure like 80% of the people already left the fucking video, but at this point, it's not about retention. There's gonna be a video on the screen right here, or if you don't want to watch that, then like I told the others, I'll see y'all boys later. Take care.